Hey, what's going on? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, y'all? I'm gonna go ahead and start another quick hangout. I thought I was done for the night, but I'm gonna have Mr. Doc join me here because we're gonna discuss some general boxing talk, and we're also gonna talk about some heavyweight classic fights. To that. So as soon as Mr. Doc he'll jump in soon. Let me just go ahead and start off by saying that definitely need we're gonna definitely need things like this to deter the toxic that's been going around the online boxing community. So definitely want to get on this and get his thoughts on the fights today as well. Again, we're going to talk about the heavyweight classics, on the fights that happened, and the fights that we wish we could have seen, and what our thoughts of the outcome of those fights could have happened, and so forth. So yeah, I'm definitely going to when we get into that. So I'm waiting for Mr. Doc to get on. Um, and then we'll chop it up, man. We're definitely gonna chop it up. So let's see. Mr. Doc. He said he'll be in a minute. Yeah. So, anyways, y'all. Yeah. Very pretty. Not a pretty busy night in boxing. And again, Eubank had one tonight. I mean, one today. Same thing with Brawler. So, not a pretty busy night. Miguel Cotto and Saddam Ali has been announced. That fight, that'll be Cotto's last fight, is going to take place in December. I think he's going to be in New York City at Madison Square Garden from the according to the reports. And of course, Anthony Joshua has enrolled in VADA testing. I applaud him for doing that. So he's now enrolled in VADA testing. So he's going to undergo strict drug testing. And Deontay Wilder, I already said this in my last hangout. I'm not going to go there, but I will I'll say it again. Deontay needs to stop talking about Anthony Joshua right now. He needs to really focus on Severn, his mandatory, get that out the way. I know that's not the fight that we're all clamoring for. We don't really want to see that fight, but it is what it is. This is mandatory. He's got to get it done. So he needs to he needs to keep Anthony Joshua's name out of his mouth. And he's accused the man for doping. You need to, don't do that, bro. And that's dangerous territory for you, man. As I mentioned in my last hangout, just don't do that. Okay, because if you get caught doping, that will be a nightmare, a PR nightmare for you, man. I'm just being honest. Just don't be going around doing that. Let's go, champs. All right, man. Let me get you the link, Mr. Doc. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, I agree, man. The whole division needs to be set up. So yeah. So there you go, man. As we get on here, we could chop it up a little bit. So, anyways, Julio Mauricio Suleiman is still firm on getting a new weight class at heavyweight. So he's still trying to create a new he's trying to create a super heavyweight division. So he's very firm on that. And when Mr. Doc get on, I'm gonna ask his insight on this. I'll read it and then I'll give his thoughts. So well, actually, let me read it before he gets on. So this is what Mauricio Suleiman said. Hey, Mr. Doc, what you doing, man? What's going on?
Hey, I'm hanging in there, bro. Can you hear me okay?
Fine,
Oh,
brother.
hang on. Let me turn my fan down.
All right, no problem, man. Can really hear it anyway.
No, but I noticed when on a couple of librarians' hangouts, it was
Yeah,
weird, right? Uh,
right.
there was like it was like we had we have two different phenomena. There was times where during the hangout, right, I'd be saying something to them, and
Right.
it sounded to me like my voice was doing the 56K crap and what have you, right?
Yeah.
Or no, it was on when I was listening back to it, rather. Okay, it had that right. But librarian would respond as if he could hear perfectly what I was saying, and he told me
Right.
he didn't hear any of the weird noises. But when he listened to the playback, he was like, "Yeah, you're not hearing things. Where'd that come from? That's strange."
Hmm.
And then of course we've all kind of started noticing it during the hangouts, I think.
Yeah. That's kind of weird, but
Since they've changed, it seems like since they changed the visual layout,
right.
that's kind of the hangouts have been plagued by this. You know what I mean? Have you noticed that? There's always,
Yeah, I noticed
uh,
there are probably a couple of changes there. I guess because if there's like any sense of interference there, that could disrupt. It may disrupt, the dialogue that's going on in Hangout. So that's probably what's going on.
what I'm rambling my way towards is that's why I go to that step of turning my fan down.
Right. I hear you, man. That's
All
why
of
I lock
that for
myself.
that. That's me.
Yeah, that's why I locked
I
myself in
yeah.
I hear you, brother. That's why I locked myself in a quiet room so that way I don't get no interference. Like on my last hangout, I got a little bit of interference. That's because I was coming in and out of outside. So, yeah, man,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And
yeah, let
by
me
the way,
just.
if you happen to hear my guitar, let me know. I usually am pretty good about muting it. You rarely hear it, I don't think.
No, I don't hear it right
I'm
now,
not
man.
trying.
It's all good.
I'm not knocking Barber. I'm not knocking you, Barber. I'm just, I roll differently.
It's all
I
good,
roll
bro.
differently.
It's all good, man. It's all good. But yeah, yeah. I just wanted to get your thoughts on. Did you see the Eubank fight today against Omni
I
Yildirim?
got the highlights. I need to, watch what there was of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Well, I mean, let's. I don't want to say I don't. You correct me if I'm wrong because I didn't watch, all of the press conference stuff, right? But it seemed like it
yeah,
was more of the trainer guy doing all the shit talking, not so much what's
yeah,
his name, the fighter. What's his name,
yeah.
Avil or Onville or something like that.
It's Avni Yildirim. Yeah,
Avni. I knew
yeah.
there was an AV in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was like the. I mean, look, Eubank got him out in 3 rounds. He destroyed him. All right, that was something that some people didn't really expect that because Yildirim is a tough fighter, but he
Yeah,
has
from
like
what
the
I
thing.
heard, again, please correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not claiming to know the guy, but from what I heard from other people talking about him, nobody had really done him the way Eubank did.
No, nobody has, and the thing is that, well, to be fair though, Yildirim hasn't really fought stellar competition before the Eubank fight, but he was, really, stepping it up though. He was. Let's give him credit for that. But the one thing I pointed out is that he's coming from light heavyweight. He's one of the three light heavyweights that's coming down to compete in that tournament, and that's why
Yeah,
I
that
said,
happened
well,
at cruiserweight too. Wasn't there someone else besides Perez that came down, or was he the only
well,
one on
no,
the cruiserweight side?
I think he was the only one on the cruiserweight side that came down.
Or is it that one of those cruisers? I swear there was at least one of them that's at least had fights at heavyweight besides Perez.
Right. He was the
Is it
guy.
Breedis?
No, Breedis, no. Marco Huck did at one point, but that was a long time ago. He went down to cruiserweight a
Okay.
long time ago.
Yeah, did
Yeah,
he
but
fight
Yoder,
Povetkin at heavyweight? Sorry.
yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He did. And he gave Vivek hell though. He gave him hell in that fight. He
Yeah, it's like I think what I'm thinking of is there's like one or maybe two that they're primarily cruiserweights, but they've had fights at heavyweight.
right, right. I mean, yeah, I think it's Perez. Perez we know is one of them, and no, I think nobody else. But if you want to talk about Marco Huck, yeah, but he was already at cruiserweight for a long time. He's a long reigning cruiserweight champion. So, uh, he has what 18 successful title defenses over there at cruiserweight.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
Marco Huck,
Now, see,
yeah,
one thing I'm just going to keep hammering this point, whether people like it or not. I totally get what people are saying when they, especially with the super middleweight one, it's very European centric, blah, 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 right?
yeah. What's funny though is
My,
because
my, my point, my point has
go
been
ahead.
my point all along with why I'm so keen on the Super World Boxing Super Series,
Uh
nothing
huh.
to do with anybody involved in it right now. It's the format,
Yeah, I think the format is
you know?
I don't know
I mean, it just seems tailor made for the American audience, especially to try. I mean, you know what I mean? This is the kind. I mean, me and Natty even were like we had the same thought without saying it to each other on a hangout we were both on.
right.
If we could get that on American television, right?
Yeah.
On a regular basis, you know,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
have to. We don't have to change any of the sanctioning bodies. Just have that happening. World Boxing Super Series every 2 weeks.
You know what?
we get a
Yeah, you
fight.
know what's funny about that is that when Floyd Mayweather was the reigning welterweight champion, right? The WBC, I think it was the WBC or some sanctioned organization. I think it was the WBC. They were actually going to implement a tournament, a welterweight tournament when he was reigning. They were talking about that. They were talking about assembling
Are
it.
you, was that the thing where like they got three out of the four sanctioning bodies to agree and one refused and it sank the whole thing?
Yeah, I think that was the one. They were going to do
It
a
was
tournament.
for the WBO that were the sticks in the mud.
Right. I think they were going to do a tournament. All the top welterweights were going to get into the tournament. They're going to fight each other. And obviously, a lot of the welterweights at the time were okay with that idea because they all wanted to crack at Floyd Mayweather. But some reason that died down very quick. I don't know what happened there, but that was something that was talked about, and I was like, dude, that's something boxing needs because it's to me it kind of deters the sport when we have too many alphabet belts and some of these top champions are not fighting each other. So the only way this can happen is that we
Oh yeah,
assemble a tournament.
don't get me started on the not fighting each other, especially with the heavyweights.
Oh yeah, the heavyweights. Yeah, man. This is the reason why I commented on my last hangout. You and I, we were talking about this. Is that if you look at the 80s heavyweights versus today's heavyweights, the 80s era was better. I'm sorry to say that at this point is a better era. Because
And
I'm
consider
not.
this, Dan, right? I realized something afterwards, right? I mean, I pointed out, and I mean, everybody, if you think about it, realizes what I was getting at. Though at the time, the 80s set of heavyweights, right, kind of got, dumped on because they came after the 70s guys. Not just Ali, but you know what I mean? The Ken Nortons, the Foremans, the Fraziers, the Quarries, Jimmy
Right.
Ellis. You know what I mean? It was a tough, even, you know what I mean? For the division as a whole, it was a tough act to follow, as they say in the music trade.
Right. Right. And the thing is too is like what you call it? I was going to say is that look, I'm not saying that the 80s heavyweights were elite. They were not. I'm not saying they were elite fighters, but they were damn good. They were very good fighters at that time, and they all fought
Down
each
there,
other.
man.
They
In
all
fact,
fought each other.
would you agree the biggest criticism of the
Right.
80s heavyweights, just generally speaking, was there was a lot of underachievers?
That's what it was exactly. That I was going to get to that. That's what it was. It just had a lot of underachievers, and Tyson was the only guy, or Holyfield. Well, Holyfield only competed later in the 80s. You could
Yeah,
say
Tyson
Tyson.
came along
Let's
and
just say Tyson.
yeah, Tyson and Holyfield kind of straightened out all of that underachieving
Right.
stuff. And
Right. They did. And it's fair to say that there were a lot of underachievers, but what made that division back then stand out better than today's um what you call it what you call today's heavyweights is that they all fought each other, man. They
I
all
was just
did.
gonna say the thing about the thing. There's two sides to it, and this is one of those funny things where, at least in English, something sounds redundant, but it still makes sense. Okay, on the one hand, right, nobody could keep their hands on that WBA title,
Right.
right? But on the other hand, nobody could keep their hands on the WBA title
Right.
for a
You know,
reason. It wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't because they all sucked. It was because they all were all pretty much, you know what I mean, relatively equal to each other with, give and takes here and there.
right. 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 And the other thing I was going to say is that you know the people it's funny because it reminds me how people you critiqued Mike Tyson's resume in the past, right? And I look at them as like, first of all, Tyson fought all the best heavyweights that was there to fight. I'm not saying those
Well,
guys.
again, he was in the '80s, at least that part of his career up to the Spinks fight.
Yeah.
There was a little bit, but again, that was under the shadow of, not just, like I said, not just Ali. It was that whole group. They all deserve, you know what I mean,
Right. And
the
it was
credit,
fun.
for lack of a better, for being
Right.
such a
And the
tough act
thing,
to fight.
right. And it's funny though, because the people who were saying that it was either, some Floyd fanatics or there was some Claudio Klitschko fanatics. And I'm saying, well, first
Or
of
it was
all,
like Larry Merchant with his new, HBO bosses telling him what to
exactly.
do.
First of all, I mean, let's be fair though. Those,
I can't let it go, Larry. I'm sorry. I know you're old. All right. But
yeah,
I can't get over the strange body snatchers like change in persona, man. Even from
yeah,
his NBC days, he did like NBC for a while, free
right.
TV.
Yeah,
He covered Ali versus Richard Dunn on NBC and the Shavers fight on
yeah.
NBC.
Larry Merchant been around. Yeah, he been around since the '60s, man. He's been
Even
covering
if you
boxing for
watch,
what,
in my
five?
opinion, if you watch and listen to what you know what I mean, the way he
Yeah,
talks and his thoughts, even on like you know what I mean, how he views the fights and whatnot, it's
right.
a different guy to me. Not just because he's younger, but you know what I mean. His whole mindset.
Yeah, well, Larry Merch is one of the. He's an old school guy, man. He likes fights. He's more of a Rock of Sock'em style. He's a Rock of Sock'em sport of boxing because that's what he grew up watching as a kid. So
But here's the funny thing about that, though. See, that's Larry
yeah,
Merchant now. Larry Merchant, the writer, I think it was for like the New York Times or the Post or something like that, right? He was the
right.
sports columnist. This is the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
guy that scored the first Frazier Ali fight for Ali. How you gonna explain this thing?
Really? What?
Yes, yes,
What? Well, I mean, look,
yes.
he has his bias. Let's be honest. Larry Merchant wasn't really a
No,
at the
no,
time.
see,
He
what I
was
mean is, you know what I mean? Like I said, how does that jive with the modern Larry Merchant, like you said, that wants Rock'em Sock'em Robots? You know what I mean? You'd
right.
expect him to score that for Joe all day.
That's true. That's true. I don't. I mean, let's see. Let's be honest. Larry Merchant always had his biases when it comes to certain fighters. I mean, who
Well,
doesn't? Okay.
yeah, and I think also what I perceive is the classic case of money and power changes people.
Right, right. I totally get what you're saying on that. But what I was gonna say though, real quickly, just to go back to the this Tyson, how people critiqued the Tyson's resume in the past, is against
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some of the Floyd fanatics and some of the Klitschko fanatics. And on the Klitschko fanatics, I questioned him. I was like, okay, let me ask you something. Name one Hall of Famer that Klitschko beat during his run. Name one. Name one fighter who's going to be a future Hall of Famer that he beat. There's none. Okay. Mike Tyson beat two of them. He beat two of them during his run in the '80s as a dominant heavyweight champion. He beat two of them. Okay. So not knocking Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko did what he had to do. He fought all the best heavyweights that was there to fight. So he did what he had to do. He definitely goes down as all time great for that. But let's be fair here. When you want to critique Mike Tyson's resume, you got to do the same thing to Vladimir Klitschko. Now, Floyd Mayweather, okay? Yes. Did Floyd Mayweather clean out his division? No, he did not. Did he become an undisputed champion? No, he did not. Hey, I mean, if you're going to critique Mike Tyson's resume, let's be fair. Okay? Let's be fair here. But if you look at it now, if you absorb it now and look at it what it was look at it now, Tyson did a lot of great things at the age of 20, 21. He beat a lot of good names.
To be
He
honest, none
did.
of these modern heavyweights have any business trying to talk smack about Mike Tyson's resume right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, man. Let's go to the comment section real quick. What's going on, Ross Clot? Late night boxing talk. Yeah, man. We're gonna get it in later tonight, man. Won't be long though, man. I promise you that. He says here, I like Merchant. He always has been honest. Yeah, he's been honest, man. But sometimes Larry Merchant sometimes been way off when it comes to his analysis. I'm just being honest with that. He did love Whitaker. He was in love with Sweet Pea. He loved him. And Ross Clot, he says Floyd's a bum. Well, let me say this, man. He and I both, Roscoe and I both
Um,
know. Well, here's the thing.
Rascal.
We're not. I'm not a Floyd Mayweather fan, but Floyd's not a bum. Floyd was a terrific fighter. Kind of after he beat Oscar De La Hoya, he was very selective on who he wanted to fight at that stage of his career. I really did
Sure,
like
but
all
there's
that cherry
no.
pick. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I mean, I'm one of those people that I wanted to see him fight like a Paul Williams, there's Langular, blah 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 blah. But there's no denying the guy's. He was incredibly gifted.
Yeah, he was incredibly gifted. But the one thing I got to hold against Floyd though is the statements he made though, man, that made him look bad. And it's like, dude, he openly admitted that he will not be taking on dangerous fights anymore. I'm going to choose who I want to fight. I don't care about legacy. I care about getting paid. That's what he said. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Seriously?
Paid off for
And
him,
then, yeah, I didn't. I just didn't like that. And dude, then when he went after Muhammad Ali the way he did, dude, I was like, nah, man, that's the last straw that broke the camel's back. How you gonna talk about a guy who can't even defend himself? You know what I mean? What I mean by defend
yeah,
himself, like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
verbal attacks. Dude, don't go there. But look, that's a long time ago. I don't want to focus on that. That's just my
Not,
take
not
on
to
it.
mention, not to mention. Speaking of people that don't need to be, I mean, don't get me wrong. For a modern fighter, Floyd has a good resume. I'm not going to sit here and completely crap on it,
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he does have a good resume. I am not gonna take that away
but
from him. That's
don't he don't his resume don't want
that's.
no smoke with the greatest.
Well, let's be honest. Yeah, let's be honest though. I'll say this: as much as I've criticized the guy, I can't dismiss his career entirely. He does have some
Oh,
good names.
exactly. Like I said, it's not
He's
bad
done
at
some great
all.
things. It's not a bad resume. It's a very good resume. But the same thing is that do I call him the greatest of all time? Do I call him the best ever? No, he's not. That's an honest fact. He's not the best ever. I don't know this. I know some people get a little taken to heart when I say that. I'm like, well, has he done what Ezra Charles has done? I'll put up Ezra Charles' resume against Floyd Mayweather. Ezra Charles spoke for Floyd Mayweather's resume.
Yeah, you know,
It
I'll
blows
be the
out.
first to say because of the fact because of my I freely admit my lack of knowledge just once we get to like the 50s and older than that, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even put Ali out there as necessarily the greatest. I just feel pretty strongly that his resume is greater than Floyd's, which
Right.
you
You got
know what I
Ezra
mean?
Charles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sort of
You want
like
to
the
talk?
Mickey Walker thing with Golovkin, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Like when I tell the fanboys, look, he's not even better than Mickey Walker right now. When you can bring me a case for Mickey
Yeah.
Walker, then we'll move on to talking
Yeah.
Hagler. You know what I mean? There's steps to this, levels, if you will.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And this is the thing too. Golovkin hasn't even surpassed Hopkins' level. He hasn't even gotten past Hopkins at middleweight. So he hasn't even got there
Yeah.
yet. Yeah, yeah, let's be honest. He hasn't. He hasn't gotten there yet. He hasn't gotten there yet. He's close to it, but he's not quite there yet. Until Golovkin retires, then maybe we could assess what his resume stack up against all the other great middleweights.
Tommy Boy trying to sneak in those regular WBA title defenses.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. We cannot count that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be consistent on that. I didn't count that the Jacobs run as a WBA champion, a regular champion. I don't count that. I don't count Keith Thurman, even though I did initially,
Yep.
but I went back and said that
I
I
brought
do
that
not
up
count.
as a Golovkin fan. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm honest and real about this shit.
Champion.
I ain't counting that.
I'm not
You
counting
know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah, that's why realistically he only has nine successful title defenses. Let's be real. He
Yes.
only has nine successful title defenses. It's okay. To be fair to Golovkin, he has fought better opponents in recent time, but he hasn't really looked great in those fights. So, and Ross Klotz
Well,
says here, look, Ali got
he
arguably got
hasn't
successful.
looked like the Bonzo and Hagler destroyer, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely, definitely. He definitely hasn't looked like the guy that beat Marvin Hagler, will smoke him out, and beat who else? Sugar Ray Robinson. He ain't looking like the guy who could beat those guys. I mean, let's be honest, or Bernard Hawkins by that matter. But let's see. Ross
Yeah.
Klotz says here. Yeah, Ross Klotz says here. Ali arguably has the best resume ever. That could be a good argument, man. That's a very good argument made. I mean, then again, you got Sam Langford that came before him. You got Sugar Ray Robinson, Ezra Charles that came before him. You got a lot of guys. I mean, you got Harry Greb. Yeah, you can. It's an argument to be made.
Ollie's the thing is, it's not so much that it's the best resume, right? It's the
Right.
fact that for a for a double digit resume or a non triple digit resume, at least like based on like the conversations I've had with librarian and whatnot, it holds up incredibly well against those huge super resume guys.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. It does. Again, it goes. Ali definitely has one of the best resumes of all time, no question about it. Now, as far as the best resume ever, that could be an argument. That could be a good argument to be made. But I would say is this: the fighters that came before him. You got Ezra Charles, you got Robinson, you got Langford, you got Jack Johnson. So you could definitely bring those guys up. Harry Wills and the McVeys. I mean, I'm just saying
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
those
you
are
see,
very,
like I said, I
very
know
Graham.
just enough about those eras, right? Especially
Right.
the like 100+ and 200+ resumes. You know what I mean? Anybody that's
Otta.
got 200 fights, you know what I mean? Exactly. But until I learn more about them, I'm not gonna just sit there and be like, yeah, all these are
Yeah.
resumes great. That's 200
And,
fights.
and also Jake
Like,
LaMotta. Jake LaMotta, to me, Jake LaMotta has a pretty underrated resume. He has one of the best resumes I've seen, despite the limited skills that he had.
look. He
Limited
fought Sugar
fighter.
Ray Robinson how many times?
Yeah, he beat him once though, but hey, besides Robinson, he beat Homer
But the
Williams.
point is, he fought him 6 times, right? Isn't it, or five?
Yeah, he fought him 5 times. And
Yeah.
here's the thing:
Okay.
he beat Homer Williams. He beat Homer Williams. Black Murder's role member. He beat him. He beat Aaron Chase, a Black Jack Chase, a Black Murder's role member. So he's got a lot of names too. So like I said, LaMotta's got a lot of good names on his resume. And
Just
despite
fighting Sugar Ray Robinson 5 times arguably trumps his resume.
oh yeah,
Just
I
that
agree.
part right there, it's game over.
Yeah, I think he fought. Didn't LaMotta fight Vinci Civic as well? Didn't he fight him too? I think he fought Vinci Civic, right?
Pretty sure Fritzy fought all them dudes.
I think he did. I think he did. But anyhow, his resume looks very good too, despite having limited skills. So some people could say, well, Lamato's a bit of, he.
I wouldn't say limited skills. I would say roughhouse skills.
Yeah, you could say that. But to me, he had some limited skills.
I mean,
But
I have to point out if he hadn't been skilled at being that dirty, he'd have
no,
like 100 DQs on his resume.
right, right. I see what you're saying. Let me just put it this way: he didn't have he. Let's be honest. I mean,
Textbook skills. He didn't have no textbook
yeah,
skills.
yeah.
Yeah,
There you go. Yeah, he didn't have technical skills, but despite those limitations, he achieved a lot in his career, and you can't question what LaMotta had done. So again, it goes back to the best resume argument. You could put LaMotta in that conversation, Maxie Rosenblum. You could put him in that conversation, Harry Greb in that conversation, Leo Huck. I would call the the white murderers role
oh,
member, in my
Florian
opinion.
Hook.
Yeah, Leo Huck. That guy was avoided by everybody. Although champions wanted to fight that guy at that time, and he had a lot of Hall of Famers on his resume. So I'm just saying it's a debate that could be that could be issue we could talk about. It's a good argument. I know the librarian would love to get on that. I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, got Ali. I mean, I could go back to those names, but we can see. I mean, like I said, that's a good debate we can have in the later in the later days. But Roscoe also said that Triple G's resume is mediocre. Well,
That's being
compared
nice,
to all
but
the other I mean, let's be honest here. Compared to all the past middleweights, yeah, it is. It is. And that guy in Taiwan could go ahead and try to discredit those guys' resumes all he wants to, but he knows that for a fact. He knows it. He can't stand it when people do honestly critique Golovkin's resume. It's a fact. It's not up to par with those other great middleweights. It's not. Okay. So you could go ahead and say that, well, let's take out those other welterweights that Hagler and Hopkins fought. You can't do that because, first of all, those guys fought middleweights. They're on his resume. You can't do that. If you're going to do that, let's take out Gabe Rosado. Let's take out Ishida. Let's take out Macklin. Let's take out Uma. Let's take out Adama. Those guys who are all small guys coming up in weight, and take out Brook. Let's take out Canelo, even though he did beat him. So, you can't take
yeah,
off
see,
guys'
this goes
resume.
back to this is goes all back to the whole fanboys making this shit way more complicated than it actually is.
Right. Right, exactly. You just can't do that, okay? I'm not a favor of taking guys off resumes so you can prove a point. Like one guy, and when we had that collective hangout together, one guy said, if we take Vladimir Klitschko off Anthony Joshua's resume, who does he have? First of all, you can't do that. You cannot do that. Okay, he beat Vladimir Klitschko. That's on his resume in the story. You cannot do that. Okay, so I'm not a favor of I don't like when guys do that. Just try to discredit another fighter. No, you don't do that. All right. So Rasclap also said that weight division is supposed to be the last level weight class. Well, I mean, yes, true. I mean, it's a point there, but yeah, that's a good point. Roscoe also says that undisputed twice in his era stacked the opponents who can fight. That's a good argument. That's a good argument. Why Ali should be considered having the best resume because he cleaned his division twice. He was an undisputed champion twice. So yeah. But you could also say Evander Holyfield did the same thing, but he almost cleaned out the heavyweight division. He almost did it. The only guy he didn't beat was Lennox Lewis. Holyfield was a two-time undisputed champion, one at cruiserweight, one at heavyweight. So Evander Holyfield's resume, well, could be up there. But as far as the best resume of all time, no. But he definitely has one of the best resumes of all time. I can say that. He definitely is up there. So what else we got here? And Rascalot says I'm an Ali fanboy. Hey, nothing wrong being an Ali fanboy, man, because you can't really criticize Muhammad Ali for what he did. So if you're an Ali fanboy, we can't really argue against it. We really can't. So what
Yeah,
do you say,
let's
Mr.
see. Ali had 39 fights in the 70s, right? And these are just the names I noted down. Let's see. We had Quarry, Bonavina,
Right.
Frazier the first time, Jimmy Ellis, Mathis Sr., much better than Mathis Jr., trust me.
Yeah.
Journeyman Jurgen Blin, the much overlooked Mac Foster knockout machine.
Yeah.
George Chavallo, Jerry Quarry again, Al Blue Lewis, nice name, Floyd Patterson, Bob Foster, the light heavyweight great,
Mm-hmm.
Joe Bugner, excellent British heavyweight, Ken Norton Sr., Joe Frazier again, George Foreman, Ron Lyle, Joe Bugner again, Joe Frazier again, Jimmy Young, Ken
Yeah.
Norton Sr. again, Ernie Shavers, Spinks. And I mean, if you really want to stretch it, there's even a few other guys you could throw in there. It's ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah. That is a stellar resume right there. Stellar
Well, and
resume.
what it is, the big thing is it's the percentage of the fights.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
That were credible opposition, and in a lot of cases, opposition that could well have beaten him, or at least were perceived capable
Yeah.
of beating him.
Yeah. True. 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 That's a yeah, man. I mean, again, that's a definitely a good topic that we could discuss, man. I mean, we could all assemble a panel. We can all give our assessment on who had the best resume of all time. Not really a debate, more of a discussion. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we could throw in some names and we could say, okay, let's go through those guys' careers and let's assess it in an honest way. Let's give you some names. And we can do that. I like to have that conversation. I could get you and a librarian on. I could get Boxing Beats
Yeah.
and Rhymes. We could all get together. We could discuss that, man. I mean, definitely a conversation
I
worth
think we
noting.
should do something. I think we should do a hangout also at some point on like you know what kind of who would we like to see in World Boxing Super Series at other weight classes?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely do that. I think they could do that. I wish they could do that at 175 now that all the titles has been scattered. I wish they could do that
That's what I'm
there.
saying. Like who would we want to see? What 8 guys would we want to see in a light
Yeah.
heavyweight,
And you know what?
Super Series?
I'm gonna just be honest with you. I think the two-way classes that desperately need the boxing World Boxing Super Series tournament style is the light heavyweights and the heavyweight division. They desperately need that right now, man. Desperately need it, in
Yeah,
my opinion. I think
it
that
would
needs to
bring
be
some
assembled.
order to the especially in the heavyweight division, the just utter chaos.
Yeah,
Seems
yeah, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Let me see. Ross Cloud also said here that Lamada would make Pretty Boy Sergio Martinez bleed all over the place. Yeah, I think Lamada would have pressured Martinez. He would have really battered him, get close and batter and bang him to the body. Lamada was a very relentless pressure fighter. Very relentless. Ross Clyde also says that Newton would give Triple G a hand job if he could. Well, I'm not gonna make this hang out too much about him, but I just want to state the obvious about you just can't discredit guys' resumes by trying to take off other guys just to prove a point about how your guy is better than the other guy's resume. You just can't do that. All right. So Lennox Lewis's resume is legendary also. I mean, Lennox Lewis had a very good resume.
Let these people like the librarian says, let these people finish their careers. Just enjoy the
I
fights.
agree.
You
You know
know?
what's funny about that, man? Here's the funny about this. When I first came on here, when I interacted with Newton and all those other guys, I thought they were cool. I thought they were level headed, to be honest with you, okay? But then when I said that, you know what? When these guys would start making these bizarre statements about Golovkin is the best middleweight of all time, he's the most feared fighter of all time. When you bring up Mike Tyson, they didn't want to hear it. They did not want to hear that. I'm like, what the fuck? Come on, seriously? You think he's more feared than Tyson? Really? They's like, well, if Tyson was so feared, how come those heavyweights fought him? Well, the reason why they fought him because they got paid to fight him. They got in the ring because they were getting a big payday, and when they got in the ring with them, they literally shook. They were feared. They really were
Yeah.
scared to look at the guy and the stare down.
And if Tyson
Waited.
didn't sink their battleship, Roy Tiger Williams did.
Exactly. So Tyson got those guys in the ring with him, but they were shook as hell. Look at Michael Spinks. He was terrified with the dude when he got in there with him. Okay, but for what it's worth, Spinks got a $14 million payday for that fight. So that's what I'm
Yeah, and
saying.
that goes back to my whole issue with Tommy Boy and their whole "Ooh, we can't get these guys in the ring." And Don King got
No,
Michael Spinks in the ring. He didn't want to be there. Bone Crusher didn't want to be there, but guess what? Don King got him in there.
and you know what's funny though? As soon as I made that suggestion, yes, Golovkin was ducked by people, but there's a reason behind that. It's not those. I look at it now is that those guys weren't really scared of the guy. They just knew he was a dangerous risk. They say, look, just compensate us for the risk. That's all it was. That's what I suggested. Maybe you should start paying these top level guys the money that they're asking for. Just do that. That's what Tyson did, and look what happened. Look what's the result. They got a big return on investment off him knocking those guys out in the 80s. So Golovkin and his team need to do the same thing. They're like, nah, 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 nah. They don't need to do that. They can't do that. Well, you can't say a guy's being feared if there's no proof. First of all, Golovkin is not the most feared than Tyson. If you've seen how guys reacted to Tyson more than Golovkin, that was fear. Take a look at those fights, okay? Another thing they also said is that Golovkin was the best middleweight of all time. I was like, really? How do you say that his career hasn't even concluded yet? He's still in the early stage of his career. All I said was, dude, the guy is still in the early stages of his career. Let him complete his career, or if he's at it, or if he's at the end of his career, let him do that, and then we could talk about that. But they didn't want to. They didn't want to hear that. They called me all kind of names. They used all type of racial epithets towards me. And when Newton and I were, in a with an exchange about this, it was civil at that point. But what I told him was like, look, man, Golovkin is not there yet. He's not there. And then this dude called me an idiot and called me naive and all kind of stuff. I was like, okay, you know what? If you really want to go there, and then he started, making all these race bait videos. I was like, you know what, dude, I'll block you. I'm tired of having this exchange with you. Okay, so
Yeah, screw that guy, man.
it's like these guys are getting upset when I say, look, Golovkin is not there with those other middleweights is done yet. You got to give him time to progress. When he does those things, when he gets towards the end of his career, then we can say, okay, maybe we can put him up there with one of the all-time great middleweights. He's not there yet. He's not there yet. You guys are giving him credit for things he hasn't done yet.
Some people on Facebook got mad at me for saying that at the moment he's not even. I don't even think he's Chris Eubank senior level.
Nah, he's not even on Nigel Benn's level. I'm sorry. Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr. would probably beat
Yeah.
the guy badly. I'm just being honest. They would have sparked him out.
The thing is, I pointed out to them, look, dude, Eubank Senior dropped Carl Thompson, a cruiserweight, and this is when Eubank was over it, and way past it.
Yeah, exactly. He was way over the hill when he fought Carl Thompson.
I mean, for all his flaws, Eubank had two major important things. All right, a crazy iron chin, and holy shit, could he punch?
Oh yeah, that dude could bang. He was a damn devil. He
Especially
was a
when the
hard.
chips were down.
Yeah, that dude could not. That dude really had some heavy hands. So Eubank could bang. Okay, so and Nigel Benn was a banger too. That dude was a relentless pressure fighter. Relentless pressure fighter. So I'm not sure Golovkin could deal with that type of pressure. I think that'd be a time we see Golovkin go back up most of the fighting a guy like that. You know what I mean?
Look at the
So,
body shots Eubank took from him, from
oh
Nigel
yeah,
Benn.
oh yeah,
And
oh
these
yeah.
guys are all trying to tell me, oh, he splatters Eubank Senior. And I'm like, have you watched any of his fights?
I don't know, man. These are guys who just begun watching boxing because it's funny because Blood actually did some research on this too. Shout out to Blood Boxing. When these guys were out there complaining about Triple G this, Triple G that, why all these guys not fighting? Let's give them credit for fights give credit for being ducked. Okay, well, if you guys are really Triple G fanatics, why didn't you guys complain about Sturm ducking them? About that. They never
I
did.
was complaining
Blood
about
research.
Tommy Boy not doing his job the way Don King did, and doing what it took to get, for instance, Laura in the ring. You know,
Get Lar in the ring. Get Ward in the ring. If you guys think you can beat light heavyweights, go get those light heavyweight fights. Go get Kovalev in the ring. Get Stevenson in the
oh,
ring.
I gotta be honest, I like the Kovalev fight better more than ever right now with the state Kovalev's in.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that. I think that's a 50-50 fight now. But Stevenson, nah, I think Kovalev. I think
No,
Stevenson.
no, no, yeah, no, 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 no,
I,
no.
I
I would
think
be like,
as much as here's the thing. As much as I criticize Adonis Stevenson, now Stevenson will spark out Golovkin, even at 40
yeah,
years old.
the style's all wrong. The style's all wrong.
That song is all wrong. Stevenson got too much of a long reach. He's too quick. He still got quickness to even though he at 40 years old. The dude could bang
It's
it
his
inside.
patience, in my opinion. It's the patience he has. You know,
Yeah,
he doesn't rush
he can box
anything. He just
he
yeah,
can
and
box
when
a
he
long
moves,
range.
yeah, and he's always taking just one or two steps, keeping the
Right.
distance, step to the side, step back. He never falls
Right.
into that trap that Kovalev does of getting caught up and starts bringing the food to you.
Exactly, exactly. So Stevenson, yeah, Stevenson is a guy who keeps you at his distance with his jab. So he's got
Yeah,
ridiculous
he
long
doesn't give
arms.
it. He doesn't surrender range the way Kovalev will.
And it's funny about that too, because Abel Sanchez came out and said that Golovkin would beat all three of those guys. He said that that Golovkin could beat Stevenson, Ward, and Kovalev. I'm like, okay, if you believe that, if
Okay,
you believe that, then you need to tell your fighter get his ass in the ring against those guys. You
make
know
it
what happened?
happen. Yep.
Yeah, you know what happened when I made that video, right? When I said that, I got a lot of
Oh, you probably got invested
I
with
got
trolls.
that. I got a lot of trolls come at me and say that you're just a Triple G hater. I was like, wait, I'm just quoting what his trainer said. If you guys think he's the monster killer that he is, why do you go up to 175 and take on those guys as Abel Sanchez said he could do? Why don't
Yeah,
you guys? I mean, you guys
I
should be
think he had a
happy.
chance against Ward. I'm not saying I'd favor him, but it's like that's a winnable fight. It's the Stevenson. I just think stylistically all wrong,
Nah,
way
I
too
don't.
all wrong.
Nah, I don't think he will win that Ward fight. That's the
No,
reason
no,
why I
no,
think.
no, no. But I'm saying it's one he could win as opposed to the Stevenson one, which is just pretty much like you know what I mean,
Yeah, I see
99%
what you're saying.
to 1%.
Let me just say this: you and I will agree to disagree. I don't think that he had no chance of that Ward fight based off the styles. No, no way in hell he would have a
You
chance to
don't
win
think he
that
has a
Ward
better
fight.
chance against Ward than Stevenson,
Who's
or
that?
less bad chance? You prefer?
Um, I think he has a bad chance because Ward liked to bang in the inside, and well, the thing is, Golovkin's too slow. He gets hit a lot. He's a punching bag, and the thing is too is that Ward is a stronger guy, and
Well, okay.
he
Well,
knows
if we're
how to
talking
punch
about,
him.
I thought we were talking about prime for prime.
Well, I mean, even prime for prime, I don't see Triple G beating Ward. Ward would beat
No,
the
no, no,
guy
no, no, no.
badly.
I'm not saying he wins. I'm saying compared to the Stevenson fight,
What you
it's
saying?
a
Well,
much
basically,
more.
yeah. You say he'd be more. Are you saying that he could be competable in that fight? Is that what you're saying?
He has at least a chance. You know what I mean? He has a chance of winning that fight. He'd be the big underdog, but he'd have a chance against Stevenson. He's getting nuked.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he probably would have. He probably would. He probably may have a chance to win Stevenson, but let's be honest though. I don't see him winning both of those fights.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
No
talking
way.
like it's like a difference of like 5% against Stevenson and maybe more like 20-25 against Ward.
Yeah. Probably, yeah. Probably. I see what you're saying, man. But yeah,
Yeah.
but anyways, yeah. Anyways, I got attacked by those trolls, man, and they were really came after me with that. They like, oh, you hating on Triple G? I was like, how am I hating? I'm quoting what his trainer said. Besides, you guys said he's a very feared fighter. Why did you tell him to take his ass up the weight and fight, and take some challenges? They didn't like when I said that too. I'm like, dude, seriously, do you guys know anything about the Black Murderers Roll members?
They don't even know about
In their weight
James
class?
Toney. They don't even know about James Toney, dude.
I know they. It's like Jesus Christ. Why would you guys want your fighter to take challenges, man? I mean, seriously, why would you want him to do that? You want him to sit in one weight class and wait for something to happen? Fuck that. No, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I don't care if he's getting avoided, if he's
Oh, he
being feared by.
can. Hagler did. That's fundamentally
Well, that's
that. You know what I mean? That isn't the thing. It's
yeah, that's true.
It's the
Yeah.
over elevation by the fanboys. You know what I mean? And they're
What?
complete. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was going to say though. It's good that you brought up Marvin Hagler, right? Yeah, I hear this talk about well, Marvin Hagler stayed in one division. Why can't Golovkin do it? Well, here's a problem with that. I have no problem with you staying in one division and staying there and trying to compete. That's fine, long as you are getting the fights. I see Golovkin's doing that now, but back then, a couple years ago, when Golovkin was not getting fights,
And
what
now
did
that he's
Golovkin
35, he get in the fights.
Now, here's the thing: when Golovkin was not getting the fights, what did his management team do? What did him and his trainer, this team do? They said they will fight anybody at 154 to 175. That's exactly what they said. And then they scaled it down to 154 to 168.
And they tried to tell us Willie Monroe
Okay.
Jr. is better than Erislandy Lara. Don't forget that.
Yeah, exactly. Look, first of all, this is the reason why I got had a problem with Golovkin. It's like, dude, you don't call out one weight class, many weight classes, then you want to go ahead and try to move the goalposts. All right, don't do that. And this is the reason why Marvin Hagler don't get fights because I don't recall Marvin Hagler weight classes when he complained about not getting fights. He never did that. So that's why Hagler doesn't get criticized in that situation. Golovkin, on the other
Yeah.
hand, does because he's the one who opened up his mouth. He was the guy that said, "I will fight anybody in other weight classes," and then he wants to scale back the goalposts when he really got on his ass for in that situation. So him and his team try to retract many things they said from that. So it's like they say one thing and then they say, "Well, I didn't say that." Or actually, you did because it was on record. You said it. Just like Abel Sanchez said that. I never said that we wanted Ward at 164. Yeah, you did. There's an article that was written that you gave an interview that you wanted that fight at 164. You said that you wanted that fight at 164, no fight. That's what you said. But anyways, I know that's the past, but I just wanted to bring up the fact that look, I my point is this: I cannot give a fighter credit for fights that he does not have on his resume. Okay, this is why I was telling these guys. Yeah, if he's being ducked, hooray! Many fighters been ducked in the past. But guess what?
Yeah,
Those fighters that were ducked in the past,
they don't even do it with the ducking like the Lara fight. They're like, oh, we don't. That the fight doesn't need to happen. We already know. What do you mean you already know?
well, yeah,
You got a
that
crystal
Lara.
ball laying around here or something?
Yeah, exactly. The excuse was, well, Lara don't bring no money. I was like, well, really? Well, explain how Willie Monroe brought more money than Alexander Lara. Explain that. Oh, they couldn't
That's
give
what I
me the
said.
answer to that. How was that more viable fight than Alexander Lara? William Monroe started at 154, I think. Did he start his career at 154? Right? I could be
Not
wrong.
sure, not sure, but he may not be, but he's when he fought Golovkin, he seemed smaller than Golovkin, and Golovkin's not the biggest middleweight around.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. William Monroe's not a very big middleweight, so yeah. Look, here's the thing. I just don't understand this argument. It's like, okay, you guys come out and say all this stuff, man. You say that Lara's not a viable opponent, but yet you okay with him fight Willie Monroe. You're okay with him fight Kell Brook, a guy who wasn't even as proven as Lara is, but you guys were okay with fighting him. Oh, because Kell Brook was a replacement. I was like, really? If he was such a replacement, then there was other valuable replacements. Arizona Lara was a valuable replacement. Uh, James DeGale was a valuable replacement. Why could he fight those guys? You know. So, anyways, the fight is done. Golovkin looked bad in that fight. He looked very bad in that fight, even though he lost 5 rounds. But it is what it is, man. But like I said, man, the thing is that this whole talk about being feared and all that stuff. No, no, man. I don't care about all that unless you do something. You have a lot of names on your resume, like Tyson did, like the Black Murderers Row members did. They were feared. That's something we could talk about. You ain't got no names on your resume. I'm not. I'm not buying into that. That's my take on it.
Or
You
if
know.
nothing else, I mean, I can understand, um, you know, if a fighter, I'm not even going to necessarily say this is the case with Golovkin, but just as a point, it's understandable totally, if it's a weak era in a fighter's given division, but you still can fight the best available.
Right. Exactly. You can fight the best opposition that's available to you.
And, yep. And if you consistently fight
Well,
the best opposition available, your career rarely goes wrong when it gets reflected on in the future.
right. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Golovkin. I would not have given him a lot of heat if he had said, "Look, it's frustrating that I can't get fights in my weight class. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying to get the best fights I can get in my weight class. I'm gonna keep trying. That's all you have to say. I'm gonna keep trying. If the opportunity's out there, I might explore my options to go up in weight. All you had to say.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a Lara fan. I don't want you bringing up 154 and getting me all jazzed up about that, and then you pull the rug out. What's up with that?
Well, before that, he was fighting a lot of guys coming from the small weights. Kasiyuma was a former 154-pound guy. Kasiyuma. Yeah, you had Noribito Ishida, a guy who was coming off 2 consecutive losses, getting a shot at Golovkin for a middleweight, for the regular middleweight title. All right, WBA, I should say, the regular title, the second tier title. Then you had Gabe Rosado coming up in weight, Matthew Macklin coming up in weight, Akil Brook coming up
Andy
in weight.
Lee. Andy
Huh?
Lee was a fight I wanted too, even though he would have been coming up in weight if I recall correctly.
That's true.
Andy
That's
Lee
true.
before,
Yeah, he started.
yeah,
Yeah, he was
when he
at
was still
154.
viable.
Yeah, he was
But yeah,
154.
that would have been a good fight. You know what I mean? That he could have had on his resume. He probably would have won. But you know what I mean? I'd give him way more credit for that than some of these other former 154 pounders.
I
Heck, I'd
agree.
give
I
more
agree with
credit
you
than
on
I
that one.
would for Dominic Wade.
Well, to be fair though, that was his mandatory. Either he fight him, or he's going to get stripped of his IBF title. So I can't really fault him for that one right there. But let me see what
No,
else is
I'm
in.
just saying that. I'm just saying. As even though he's a 154 fighter or started there, I'd rate Andy Lee a better win than Dominic Wade
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, even though it was a mandatory, but let's be face it, Andy Lee would be much better win than Dominic Wade. That's a fact. That's a good point.
in a better
A
fight.
better fight.
Yeah.
And then if he had beat Canelo, that was another guy coming up in weight from 154. So I'm just saying, it's like, my point is at the time when they were trying to discredit Hopkins and Hagler and all these guys for fighting small guys, my point is that back then I was like, wait a minute, do you guys know anything about boxing history? Back then
Well, they
there was
better they
always
better be ready to criticize Lomachenko for fighting small guys like Mariaga and Rigo.
oh, they won't do it. They won't do it. They won't do it. But I remember at the time, a couple years back, they were trying to discredit Hagler Hopkins for fighting welterweights. They were doing that, and they were like, "Look, first of all, you guys have to understand. Historically, welterweights have always fought middleweights. Okay,
And those weren't just everyday normal welterweight. So
I know they were not normal welterweights for God's sakes. I mean, first of all, they were saying that Golovkin fights real middleweights. No, he doesn't. I pointed that out. He never did. He wasn't fighting real middleweights. He was fighting a lot of guys coming up in weight. They didn't like that argument. They hated that when I brought that up. He wasn't. I mean, come on, man. Let's be realistic. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. What I'm saying is you got to be consistent with your criticism. If you're going to criticize one middleweight for fighting small guys, you got to do the same for your fighter because he's doing the same fucking thing. Even though those small guys are not elite fighters, but he's fighting small guys. So come on, you got to be consistent. So let me go back to the comment section here real quickly, brother. Ross Clyde's the only one here so far because I know it's late, but let me see. Ross Clyde says that Mr. Doc is a boxing encyclopedia. Yeah, he is, man. He is. Let me see. He has.
just watched a lot of fights. All it is, I've just watched a lot of fights, nothing else. I mean, occasionally I
Yeah.
look at boxing nowadays, but no, I've just watched a lot of fights. I don't want. I'm not here to claim nothing more than that.
Right. 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 That's a good point, man. And he also wanted to ask us, what do our take? Who would you would he asked us would Ike Corte beat Keith Thurman? Just your thoughts. Oh, that's an interesting matchup. Keith Thurman versus Ike Corte.
Ah, that is a very interesting matchup.
Ah, man, that's a tough one. You know what? I like Keith Thurman, but I have to go with Ike Corte because I thought Ike Corte punched a lot harder. He had a great jab. I mean, he had a deadly jab. His jab would actually hurt people. He had a stinging jab, and he had a good jab.
Well, and
He
look
used to,
and look at the guys that he mixed it with. You
yeah.
know, I
He
mean,
had
it's
Vince
like,
Phillips.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. He had Vince Phillips, Opakar. He fought Oscar De La Hoya, Fernando Vargas. Good fights, man. I thought he won that De La Hoya fight. In my opinion, I thought he won that fight. He won it. Fernando Vargas. Yeah, those are really good fight. Wiki Wright, Vernon Forrest. So yeah, he been in there with some good elite guys. Verno Phillips, he beat him.
yep.
He had some decent names. But he lost to the bigger names. But despite all that, I think that uh, skill for skill, maybe I will go with Corte. Now, as far as Keith Thurman can put up a good fight. I think he can put up a good fight, but I may have to go with Corte on that one, man. What do you think?
I think Corte, like I said, too much experience against you know uh, arguably multiple Hall of Fame type fighters.
Right, 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 man. I definitely do that. So Ross Class about to jet up out, but I'm gonna go through his last questionings. Yeah, to me, yeah, he had a lot of layoffs too. That's another thing that was a downfall because when you're inactive for long stretches of time, what's going to happen is your skills is going to deplete. And I see that that's what's going on with Donna Stevenson. Donna Stevenson is so
And
inactive for
Golovkin.
same thing with Golovkin, yeah.
Yep. I'm telling you that was part of the whole Fishnet's plan, dragging this out, telling him he can't take the Billy Joe Saunders fight. It wasn't because they. I mean, think about it. Why else would he say not want Golovkin to do that? Why wouldn't he want Golovkin to come in right with the last remaining belt so that him versus Canelo would have been for undisputed? You know what I mean?
Right,
Everything.
right, right. But that,
You know what I mean? What possible motive could he have had? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being paranoid.
well, he probably wants to, take him, wear him out. I mean, look, Golovkin is taking a punishment in his last three fights, man, and he's definitely going to slow down now. So now, Golovkin is trying to fight in December. I
Well,
really,
I see. I think it's a combination of that, but I think the inactivity. Honestly, I think the inactivity hurts him more. At least in the short term.
now, they're not talking about December. They're talking about no, you're not getting no interview fight in December. They're going to reschedule a rematch. That's what's going on right now. They're
And they're not
scheduling
going to
for.
let him fight, are they?
They're not going to let him fight. Nope, they're not going to let that happen. So we got to wait till May of next year. So that's going to be what? Damn, that's a big layoff. That's about 7 months, man. 6, 7 months.
Yeah. See, as the fighter gets older, it's a tricky balancing act, of not keeping them active, not leaving it in the gym. You know what I mean?
Right, right. So that's what's going on. They're going to drag him out. That's what's going to happen, man. And if anything, if the rematch is going to happen, I might slightly favor Canelo to win it this time. I might slightly favor him to win it.
I wouldn't argue with that. Like I warned the Golovkin fanboys,
Mhm.
especially on Facebook. You're falling into a trap here, chasing this
Yeah,
Canelo
exactly.
fight.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point, man. And Roskala also said that Tyson damn near had the whole heavyweight division afraid of him. Yeah, that's the truth. That's what happened. You know, and he also said that Eubank Jr. is a C-level fighter right now, perhaps B minus, but he has potential to get to A level. Yeah, he does have the potential. I think that if Eubank Jr. does win the super middleweight tournament for the world, the world boxing super series, I definitely believe that he'll be A level when he does it. So and then yeah, that's to that. And he also said that Ben Nigel Ben would murder Gennady Golovkin. Yeah, I think Ben will destroy Golovkin. I think he will really would get will really get to him. He will wear him down with the body shots.
This Golovkin, I agree. I agree. Prime for prime. I'm not saying. I think it's more like a 50-50, and that would be a pay-per-view fight.
Yeah,
Prime Ben versus Prime Golovkin. You know what I mean? Somebody going to sleep, or,
yeah,
or at least somebody who's coming out of there. They'll probably come out of there both beating the heck up if it
yeah,
goes the distance.
yeah, absolutely, man. So another thing, Abel Sanchez is annoying. Without Golovkin, without Triple G, no one will know who the hell Abel Sanchez is. I agree. I agree on that one, man. But yeah, man. So like I said, man, the heavyweights to me, the 80s heavyweights are better than today's heavyweights, in my opinion. What do you think about that, man? Do you agree with me or disagree?
Well, like I call it the Derek Chisora trend.
Yeah.
You know,
What?
it's just unfathomable to me that friggin' Derek. No offense to him, you know what I mean. He's a
Yeah.
decent fighter. He's a good fighter, but he's not in that group of what we would call A level heavyweights.
Right.
right?
He's not.
So,
No.
so I mean, when I sit here and look at what these guys, all these various, okay, I'm just going to read off some names for you, okay?
Okay.
And so out of these are heavyweights over the last 10 years, right? There is, by my reckoning, admittedly subjective, but by my reckoning, out of the 51 that I looked at, there are 5, and this is counting Vlad, just to keep it simple, even though he's retired. There's 5 that have, that have 10 or more credible opponents they've faced in the last 10 years. There's only 5.
Okay.
Now, we know Derek Chisora is one. We know Vladimir Klitschko's one.
Right.
So, I'll try to blow through. So, out of, we got Eddie Chambers, Povetkin, Ustinov, Fedosov, Galata, Warzik, Andy Reeves Jr., Anthony Joshua, Tarver, Spilka, Harrison Jennings, Martin, Chaz Witherspoon, those who remember him, Christian Hammer, Price, Chisora. You get the picture. You know what I mean? But I'll just spoil it for you and get you. You would never have guessed who the other 3 are. I would bet. Would you have bet Thomas Adamek?
Whoa, Thomas Adamek. Yeah. Yeah, Thomas
Adamek. Yep. 10 credible opponents. Galata, Areola, the name Grant.
Yeah.
Like, so being very generous here, admittedly. Kevin McBride, Vitali, Eddie Chambers, Steve Cunningham, Tsar Glaskov, Spilka, Molina.
Yeah.
Chris Areola, Chaz Witherspoon, Vitali, Adamek, Molina, Permain Stavern, Seth Mitchell, Permain Stavern again, Fred Cassie, Kaufman, Deontay Wilder. And then the third one, Tony Thompson. Out of 18 fights, he's only had 18 fights in the last 10 years, right? And out of those 18 fights, he's fought Ibragimov, Vlad, Chaz Witherspoon, Vlad again, David Price twice, Kubrat Pulev, Odlanier Solis, Takam, Solis again, Malik Scott and Ortiz.
Yeah, he's actually, Tony Thompson actually.
He's doing all the heavy lifting. You know what I mean? The journeymen are doing all the heavy lifting, man.
I know him and Chisora, both you could say Chisora's almost on. He's close to being journeyman status. He's not quite there yet, but he's close to it. He's close.
Yeah. But when I look at the 70s, right? Here's the guys with the biggest list of credible opponents. Obviously, you got Ali, right? Obviously. Yeah. Ron Lyle stands way above the likes of the Jody Ballards, Evangelistas, Zanons, Jose Luis Garcias, even a Roy Tiger Williams, who was much avoided.
Oh, yeah.
For real avoided. You know?
Yeah.
Larry Holmes, whose career mostly occurred in the 70s, right? Still managed to get 9 credible opponents in the 70s. Rodney Bobbitt, Roy Tiger Williams, Ivar Arrington, he was a prospect at the time, Ernie Shavers, Ken Norton Sr. for the WBC. Ken Norton Sr. was the champion at the time for the WBC. Ozzy Ocasio, future cruiserweight contender, at least I believe. Mike Weaver and Ernie Shavers.
No, Ocasio was a champion, so he was a champion.
Okay, yeah, see? And Joe Frazier's got a big stack. George Foreman's got you know what I mean? You see the difference in what I'm getting at here? Joe Bugner. Joe Bugner's got, 12 credible opponents, And
then, doesn't Chuck Wepner? Chuck Wepner up there too?
Yeah, let's see Chuck Wepner. Yeah, Chuck Wepner's not leading, he's not got the biggest list of names. He has a lot of fights. And he has some good names. But it's not him that's leading the way. It's not these middle, it's not the Derek Chisoras, is my point.
Well, yeah. What about George Chuvalo? Did you include him?
Yeah, let's see. Search for
George Chuvalo Chuvalo got a long list of names too. I mean, he was able to beat some of those guys, but he has a long list too.
He does. Oh yeah. Quarry, Foreman, Ali twice.
William.
Exactly. Yeah.
Williams, Frazier. Yep, he's up there.
Yeah,
Oscar
yeah,
Benavidez,
yep.
Ernie Terrell, Floyd Patterson, Doug
Yep.
Jones, Zora Foley.
Jimmy Young, 13 credible opponents out of 32
Yeah.
fights in the 70s. You
Oh
know.
yeah, Tabata
Meanwhile,
was up there, man.
yeah, yeah. Meanwhile, the Derek Chisoras will say like, Larry Middleton's, Richard Dunn's, Ron Stander. Hey, Ron Stander fought 50 times. He was a journeyman, of
Right.
course, right? He fought 50
Yeah.
times, but he got 9 credible opponents, which isn't bad by modern standards, but he's
Right.
not anywhere close to Ken Norton Sr., Jimmy Young. You know what I mean? He's behind Jerry Quarry, who had half as many fights in the 70s. You know, it's
Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
whole dynamic of for like that old cliche or what's become cliche, best fighting the best.
Yeah.
It's if you looked at the spreadsheet the way I've got it broken down, Dan, it's like the shape of it just is inverted.
Right. Oh, that's interesting, man. That's interesting, man. That's a good breakdown. Let's go back to the comments here. Miss Supreme Commander said here, look, the thing is that Triple G regular title fences result of the fact that Steve Stern refused to fight him. And he tried to fight Pyrog, Dimitri Pyrog. He tried to fight Martinez and everyone else pretty much. Well, here's the thing, Supreme. Here's the thing, man. We understand that Stern didn't fight him, okay? But the fact remains is that the regular defenses
And
don't count.
that's it right
Now,
there. To me, Sturm didn't fight him. Sturm was the champion at that weight class in the WBA.
hey, exactly. He was the champion, and you guys acknowledge that. The fact is, we don't count regular defenses as actual title defenses. I don't. We don't. Technically, you cannot count that. Okay. And another thing is that yes, the Dimitri Pryorok situation, that's not his fault. The Pryorok had injured his back, his lateral muscle, that ended his career as a whole. That would be a damn good fight. Martinez, yes, Sergio Martinez was at the end of his career. He was looking for one big fight. Golovkin wasn't the guy who could deliver that money. You guys, since people want to talk about money all the time when it comes to Golovkin, he doesn't need to fight this guy because he brings no money, like Lara. Then Martinez has to get a pass for that as well because Golovkin doesn't bring no money when he tried to fight Martinez. Okay, so you got to give
The
him a
point is,
pass.
fights didn't happen. They don't go on his resume. End
Exactly,
of.
that's the whole point. That's the whole
Yeah.
point. Yeah, so
And as far as
Martinez
I'm
did
concerned,
happen.
if these people want to blame anybody, they need to look at what I've been looking at, his representation. You
Right,
know, I mean,
exactly.
it's obvious to me. It's just glaring. It's glaring, especially
Right.
after this whole fishnets episode rather.
It's very glaring. And here's the thing. All I'm saying is to Supreme, and me and Mr. Doc, we were just talking about this. The only thing we're saying is that if Golovkin wanted to get those guys like Martinez in the ring, he had to pay more money. He had to give him the money that he wanted. That's what Tyson had to do. That's what we're asking Golovkin the team to do the same. They didn't do it. So
Yep,
yes, me and
Beats put it best, I think, when he said, well, "Tommy Boy is trying to build Golovkin's legacy on the cheap, and that doesn't work."
exactly. It does not work that way. You cannot give credit for fights that you don't have on your resume. Okay, if you guys, if people are going to say that, well, be a duck means that you're great, then maybe we should say that Charlie Burley's the greatest fighter of all time. But that's not really being fair because first of all, Charlie Burley actually got names on his resume, even though he was heavily
Oh no
avoided.
no no no! See, by their logic, if you follow it to its fullest extent, we should say Charlie Burley has the best resume of all time.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. We might as well agree with that. He doesn't have the best resume of all time, but he definitely. The reason why Charlie Burley's a Hall of Famer, some people are going to ask, well, why is he a Hall of Famer if he got ducked? Well, the reason why he's a Hall of Famer because when Charlie Burley was avoided, what he did is that he didn't sit in one weight class to fight challenges. He went all the way up to goddamn heavyweight and took on fights, and he won. And he fought other Hall of Famers like Archie Moore. He fought Homer Williams. He fought Ezra Charles. He fought Vitsy Civic. He fought many of those guys, and he won in most of those fights. So that's the reason why he became a Hall of Famer because of the risk in the fights that he took, which were elite level fights.
Yep,
Okay,
and
that's
don't
what he
bring
did.
us and don't bring us none of this. Oh, that was in prehistoric times. Blah 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 blah. No no, James
First
Tony,
time in my ass.
modern
Yeah, James
example.
Tony. Exactly.
beat
But
heavyweights, competed with heavyweights, including not just Evander Holyfield, but heavyweights like Hasim Rockbot, who looked like friggin' giants compared to him.
yeah, but another thing, Roy Jones went all the way from 154 to heavyweight to it took off fights. So come on now.
Yep.
Ezra Charles, same thing. Ezra
And
Charles went
we
from
mentioned earlier, Chris Eubanks Sr. went from 160, started at 160, and ended his career almost beating a cruiserweight Carl Thompson that beat David Hay.
exactly. So I mean, look, Ezra Charles was a world heavyweight champion. Okay, and he was 180 pounds when he was competing, or at least over 180 pounds competing in that weight class. Okay, Ezra Charles is a small fucking middleweight, a career middleweight, a natural middleweight. Okay, Ezra Charles. The reason why,
Yeah, what they tried to do is they tried to use that to condemn the guys he fought.
yeah, exactly. And Ezra Charles was avoided too by a lot of people. What did Ezra Charles do? He moved his ass up to all the heavyweight and took off fights and became a world heavyweight champion. Okay, Ezra Charles. The reason why he gets the distinction of two different weight classes is one of the greatest light heavyweights of all time and one of the greatest heavyweights of all time is because of the risk he took in those weight classes. The risk he took, and he prevailed. So I don't want to hear this talk about well,
Yeah,
uh,
look at him fight
he,
Jersey Joe Walcott. He looks like he's about half his size.
oh man, look at the size disparity in that fight. That was like a 50-pound fight, 50-pound disparity, man. That was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
and the one, what was it, the third one where Jersey finally caught up to him and knocked him out? That was brutal.
Yeah, look at the size disparity between him and Joe Lewis. Joe Lewis had like a 40-pound weight disparity over the guy. You know, so that's why Ezra is my favorite fighter of all time, and it's surprised that many people don't talk about him a lot. This dude actually has one of the best resumes I've seen. He's got a lot of names on his resume. And hey, Dick Justice is in the chat room. He said, "What's up going on, Dick?" He said, "Look, Ezra Charles and Sugar Ray Robinson have the best resumes of all time." I mean, like I said, that's still debatable, man. I mean, like I said, that's
Fair, yeah,
definitely a
man.
difference.
They probably have arguments. I wouldn't know them like Dan in the library.
I mean, to me, I think Ezra Charles, Muhammad Ali, Harry Greb, Sugar Ray Robinson, and who else is in there? Maybe Jack Johnson. No, number five is very tough for me. Maybe Jack Johnson. Maybe those five have probably the top five best resumes of all time. They do. I know some guys are going to take exception to that. They'd be like, "Well, what about
They're at
Floyd?"
least in the discussion, or at least strongly in the discussion. You know what I mean?
Strongly in the discussion. Yeah, strongly in the discussion. They'd be like, "What about Floyd? What about Evander? What about those guys?" Well, look,
Floyd's resume is good, but I don't know, Dan. I'm not so sure it's even better than Roberto Duran's.
nah, I don't think it's better than Rance. I'm just being. I don't. It could be a debate, but here's the thing: Floyd's not better than Evander Holyfield's. Let's be honest. Evander Holyfield's is better than Floyd Mayweather's. It's way better than
Yeah,
Floyd's.
that's yeah. Vander's got a sick resume.
His resume is way better. I'm sorry, that's a fact. Losses don't mean nothing. Losses don't define you as a fighter. Okay, you can overcome with all the greatest wins, then you have losses on your resume. So,
Well,
uh,
that's like the thing with Max Schmeling or Mickey Walker versus Max Schmeling. I,
yeah.
I can't. I watched that fight and I can't help but find myself wanting to give Mickey Walker more credit for that loss than I do some other people for some wins.
That is true. That is true, man. Let me see here. Robinson number two, all time behind Ali. Ali just has more names on his resume. I mean, well, Supreme. I mean, Supreme makes an interesting point, but the thing is that Ali was undisputed. I mean, you can say Robinson was too because there was only one belt at the time in one division when he fought.
I don't know
But
Robinson's resume that well, Dan, but I suspect it's a question of
of quality,
Ollie's. Well, I think they probably have. I have a hunch that they have probably closer to the same level or same number of top of the line fighters they fought. You know
yeah.
what I mean? But
Well,
Ollie didn't have as many overall fights.
yeah, he did have many of the overall fights. I mean, obviously that has more part to the fact that he was incarcerated for a couple of years. You know what I mean? So he was stripped of his heavyweight title. But other than that, Yeah, it's a debate, man. Robinson definitely has a lot of work, man. You could say the one thing that stood out about Robinson is that after he suffered his first loss to Jacob Ramada, he went on to a 9-year fight winning streak. He was 93. He had like won 93 consecutive fights over a 9-year period. So that's
Yeah.
very amazing right there.
Well, hey, it's a credit to me. It's a credit to Ollie's resume. I mean, did he even have 60 fights?
Ali, he had 62 fights in his career, I think.
62. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, nowhere near 100. To me, it's a
Yeah,
credit to his resume that we're even having this discussion.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a debate, man. We should definitely have not a debate. We should do this discussion. We definitely should have a roundtable on this and just pick out the best five.
Yeah. I mean, how many
Best five.
fighters with fewer than 60 or fewer fights? You know what I mean? Could we, even bother bringing into that
Right,
discussion? It can't be too many.
right. Exactly. That's a good point there. Super Supreme also said here that Triple G fans are really bad, just as bad as Radical Wilder fans. You know what, man?
That I've always said it, man. The hardest part is just me personally. The hardest part for me of being a Golovkin fan is other Golovkin fans.
And the same thing too, man. It's like it's radicalism in both sides, man. There's a lot of radical Wilder fans. There's a lot of radical Triple G fans, man. To me, I just think that is really toxic when it comes to the sport of boxing. It's okay to advocate for your fighter, but be
Oh
radical.
yeah. That's I was just telling my brain a little like earlier. You know, just yeah. I've totally blatantly been yeah. I've been on some hangouts, but I've been more. I've just kind of focused more on my a little bit of heavyweight research, and then music and things like that. And I'll wait for this toxicity to pass
Right,
because I'm not
right.
interested.
Yeah, I'm not
It's
interested
just
either.
and I'm not going to be drawn in.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be drawn in either, but that's why I told these guys too, as I look, guys, you guys can't discredit Anthony Joshua. All right. You can't he's not a coward, he's not a pussy. No. Especially with that interview he gave 2 days ago. Was it disappointing? Yes, it was. He should have said that. He definitely need to be called out on it. But he's definitely not a coward, he's definitely not a pussy. No, 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 no. I think that fight does need to
Well, and to my mind, the entire as I keep hammering the point of the whole division can be criticized.
exactly. It can be. Every fighter is subject to criticism because no fighter is like Hatman says is best. No fighter is below praise, and no fighter is above criticism. Okay, that goes for Joshua. That especially goes for Wilder. It's funny though when I criticize Wilder for going after Tyson's resume, which he had no business, no position to do. I got some guys coming at me saying, "Dude, why are you going at Wilder like that, dude? First of all, Tyson does have weak resume." I was like, "No, I disagree. First of all, Tyson did far better things in his prime as a heavyweight than Tyson did.
They didn't, Dan. No, they
Yeah,
didn't.
that's what I mean, I respect the guys. No, there's no disrespect. No disrespect. We had an honest conversation. It's like, dude, I know that Mike Tyson said some things about Deontay Wilder that were discouraging. I know that. And I've said this, and me and Blood were talking about this. What Mike should have done, Mike is just too blunt. That's how he is. He should have took Deontay to the side and said, you know what, guy, there's some things I don't like about you. We could talk about how we can enhance your skills. That's cool. But the one thing that Deontay Wilder should have done is attack the dude's resume. That's something he should have done. You don't go there, especially if you don't have a resume that's not even close to what he's done. Okay, you just
Yeah.
can't do that.
Well, and I like
Yeah,
the fact whether you realize it or not, Dan. You started to sort of become for lack of a better term, a neutral ground. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and I've always been that way. I
where,
appreciate
where,
that,
where
man.
everybody from different, just different points of view can all come together and we can converse and share ideas and chop it up and not have to worry about craziness.
Yeah, we don't, man. That's why I want to be neutral about the situation. That's why my last hangout I was like, no, I don't want to hear this UK versus US rivalry talk. We're not going down that road again. We
And
already
I
had
thought
that.
the last one I was on, anyways, I enjoyed it quite thoroughly. I thought it was, you know what I mean? It was yeah, quality, interesting conversation.
I mean, it had some interesting conversations here and there, but it really got nasty at that point. And we're not going down that road again. No, we're
What,
not going down that road.
the hangout we had? I don't remember that.
No. It's just that there was some video responses that came out in the last few days, last couple
Oh,
of days.
yeah. I agree completely. That's why I'm saying I appreciate what you've been doing in that regard.
Right. And here's the thing: what I tell people, I tell guys is, look, do I want to see that Wilder Joshua fight happen? Absolutely, I do. Do I want to see it happen right now rather than later? Yes. But let's be realistic.
We wanted
From
Leonard versus Hearns too right away.
Yeah, and that's I was
We
going to
didn't
get to
want, we
that
didn't want
point.
to hear about no retirement. You know what I mean? We weren't hearing it. We didn't care. I mean, this
Yeah,
is back.
but
You
the
know,
fact
we were
is,
a bit more savage back then. We didn't know and understand or care about detached retinas. You know what I mean? And none of that.
right, right. But here's the thing: the fact is that the fight's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen when it happens. Okay. If it does not happen, hypothetically, and I told Blood this too when we had the hangout yesterday. I told was like, look, if the fight does not happen right away, I mean not happen right away. If it doesn't happen hypothetically, if it does not happen, the sport lives on, man. You know, Wilder still has to fight. There's top heavyweights that he could fight. There's Brazil. There's Miller. There's Big Baby Miller. There's Dillian White, amongst others. And then Anthony Joshua, same thing. So their careers will still go on, man. Even if they don't fight, so what? They can still fight top heavyweights, man. There's many fights that hasn't happened in decades. And Boss Librarian brought up a good point,
And
but the
all
sport
those
lives
guys
on.
need to fight each other more too, in my opinion. You know what I mean? The Gerald
Right.
Washingtons and the Millers and the guys that that was a good fight. That was a good fight. You know,
It was a good
those
fight.
guys need to
Yeah.
fight each other too and sort things out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we do want to see those fights happen, man. But the thing is that I just don't like the fact that we gotta go this far or try to demonize each, Wilder. We got to demonize Joshua. I just don't like the fact that we're going that route, and definitely don't like the fact that Anthony Joshua's being called a coward and a pussy and all that stuff. Nah, he's not,
Yeah,
man.
I have zero time or patience for the toxic
Exactly.
crap. It's just like,
Right.
come on, man. This is boxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I,
It's boxing, man.
I don't know about everybody else. I'm not trying to speak for everyone else, but me personally,
Mm.
I do this to, you know what I mean, as a sort of escape from all the fucking shit that goes on in my life and, toxic crap I have to deal with in the real world.
Yeah,
I have no
exactly, man.
interest
You
in
and I both.
encountering it here.
Right. Here's the thing about it too. The thing is that both guys need to get together. They will get there together eventually. So I take Eddie Hearn's word for it. He does have the roadmap for that fight to happen next year. Of course, Anthony Joshua says other
You
things,
know
says
what?
otherwise.
Something occurred to me, Dan.
What's
Something
up?
occurred to me because the last thing I heard from the WBC about that whole Ortiz fiasco, right,
Yeah.
is now they're saying, "Oh, no, 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 we were concerned about Ortiz's health and fitness
Yeah.
to be fighting, and that they're gonna have a doctor check him out." Now, if the WBC medically clears him and doesn't punish him, doesn't isn't it possible that he'll retain his WBA mandatory spot against Joshua, which could be potentially something that would delay the fight between
Good
Joshua and
question.
Wilder?
That's a good question. For what I've been hearing, he has not been punished. They haven't removed him from the rankings. And his team came out and they specified that. They said, look, just to clear everything up, Luis has not been punished. We're just going through certain protocols to get this straightened out. He's not been punished. He still remains one of the top heavyweights in the division. He still has his ranking with the WBC. He still has his ranking with the WBA. So it looks like they're going to clear him. But the fact is that they're going to clear him. They're going to go through these certain protocols. He may keep his ranking. They're just pretty much going to tell that they're going to give him a slap on the wrist and tell him, look, this is what's going to happen now. We're going to give you a small little sanction. We're going to still keep you ranked. But the next time you have prescribed medication, it contains chemicals that is banned by WADA. You have to notify us beforehand. And that's something I'm surprised why they didn't do that. They've been testing other
Yeah,
CBD programs
his
for years.
team exhibited, as Bo kind of predicted to us,
Yeah.
terrible incompetence.
Yeah, exactly. Terrible confidence, man. Indeed, man. This is a lesson they need to learn from this. They're lucky they didn't get their ranking stripped or getting suspension. They're very lucky here. But let me go back to the comment section. Supreme says here, look, Wilder fans are so crazy they even said that he beats Larry Holmes and Mike Tyson. Really? Who said that?
Whoa, 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 whoa. No, no, no. No, no,
Huh?
no, no, no. Whoa,
Who
whoa, whoa.
said that?
Who, I want to know who, with a straight face, said
No, for real. Let's just be rational here.
Larry,
Who said that? Come on,
did it
man. Let me
beat
just be
you
real here.
just sad?
Let's be real here. Blood boxing, blood. Look, blood is a big Deontay Wilder fan. He could tell you that ain't no way hell Deontay Wilder beats Larry Holmes in his prime or it's at Mike Tyson in his prime.
I know, man. Come
He'll tell
on.
you that. Come on, man. Who said that, man? I mean, Supreme, tell me, man. Who said that?
Yeah, you gotta give him. You gotta give him up, Supreme. Sorry, you gotta give him up.
Come on, man. Let me see. Dick Justice said here. Dick J says that Floyd Patterson would be amazing light heavyweight, but he fought most of his career at heavyweight because of money. Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. Back then, if you notice that the heavyweight division was the most prestigious weight class during that time. That's why you see all those small guys moved up from their weights to go up to heavyweight to compete. That was the norm back then, until the lower weight classes. It all began with Robinson. He started to bring in prestiges in the welterweights in the middleweight divisions and so forth. Not like we didn't. It's not like we never had great middleweights before Robinson, but I'm talking about bringing in that prestige, that riches in the weight class. That's what he did, and that's where all the money started to come in. So yeah, that's when all the guys start competing at for higher purses in that weight class. I should say. He also said that I think
Yeah,
Patterson would be. What's up? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's like when people talk about, oh well, Joe Frazier would have been a cruiserweight, and all I can think is, oh my God, could you imagine the horrible things Joe Frazier would do to the cruiserweight division today?
Oh man. Nah, you would wreck that division, man, if that happened. Dick J
I
also
love you.
I don't know, man. He would have to be, man. Joe Frazier. Well, obviously, I don't think he could make. Well, he was back to what 202, so he could definitely make that weight limit.
Yeah, in his prime, like circa the first Ali fight, I think he could have got down there. I think he could have done it.
Yeah, he was actually 202. He was 100. It was 202 pounds. He was barely over 200, just like Holyfield when he moved up. So, let me see what we got here else here. Dick J also said I think Patterson would have beat Bob Foster. You know what? That's a good point. I think Patterson would have won that fight. But,
Mm.
but,
But
but the
against,
problem with
I
Patterson.
don't know, the puncher thing, man.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. The Patterson just did not have good punch resistance. Let's be honest. He had a very terrible chin. He was a very chinny guy. And I like Floyd Patterson, but that was a fact. Very terrible chin. I
Got
wouldn't say he had the worst
Brian
chin history.
Lamar. Got sparked, of course, by Liston
Liston
Twice.
twice. And
Yeah.
Ali. So yeah. Let me see here. Dick J also said that I think that John Tate would have outjabbed the fuck out of Wilder. Hey, I mean, if Gerald Washington was able to outjab him, I think John Tate would have outjabbed him too. What do you think?
Um, the thing with I'm tempted to say yes, but then I keep having these flashbacks to it's the seemingly half dozen times John Tate was clearly winning a fight going into the 11th or 12th round, and then he got clipped and knocked out. Burbick did it to him. Hercules Mike
Yeah,
Weaver did it to him. I swear
yeah,
there's at least one or two others.
yeah. True, true, true.
But he
Uh,
was John Tate. John Tate was very good. He was very good, very talented.
yeah, he's a very talented fighter. But yeah, I mean, he did have a good jab. And I'd say that maybe he would outjab Wilder because Wade Gerald Washington was able to outjab him. And John Tate was a better fighter than Gerald Washington, let's be honest. But
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. No disputing that. No disputing that.
yeah, so yeah. Supreme also said that the one thing we have to admit, though, is that we haven't seen Golovkin hurt yet. One thing we have to admit also is that able, ah, we can't fault the reason why he's hype. Okay, look, I have to disagree with one thing. I think Golovkin was hurt in the Kilbrook fight. He was definitely hurt in the Jacobs fight
He
and the
was
Canelo fight.
buzzed. He was buzzed.
He No, he was hurt. Let me tell you why. Because in the Kilbrook fight, after that fight ended, Golovkin was breathing hard. Okay, he was breathing hard. He was taking too many shots, and the fact that after that fight ended, he was asking for water to be poured on his head because his head was hurting from all those headshots he was taking.
Yeah, yeah, that uppercut lifted both my guys' feet off the mat.
Yeah, yeah, he
That's
did.
what I'm
And
saying, man.
also, and he got hurt. I think he was getting hurt in the Willie Monroe fight when Willie Monroe was not even a puncher was tagging him in the inside. He went back to his corner, breathed very hard. He was breathing very hard. I was like, dude, when you get hit like that, you breathing very hard. That means that you hurt. Same thing in the Canelo fight. He was
Well,
breathing hard too. It hurt. He was just really.
yep, and that goes back to Tommy Boy's shitty matchmaking, in my opinion, and the formation of bad habits because of said shitty matchmaking.
Yeah, true, 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 true. That's what it is too. That's a good point, man. Dick J also said that Doc, your laughter is very scary, man. Yeah. Let me see. Supreme also said that Stevenson would KO Golovkin pound for pound. Stevenson's a bigger puncher. Yeah, obviously, no question about it. He
Yeah,
is.
yeah, no
No
doubt.
question about it.
But
BB.
I still say he beats Kovalev.
Yeah, I think yeah, now that Kovalev's been exposed, yeah, he'll definitely beat him. Well, not definitely. It's still 50-50 fight. It might be. He has a better chance of winning that fight now than I thought before.
I just think I think Golovkin's got way better mental toughness than Kovalev.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good question. That's a good point. Yeah, mentally, that Kovalev is not there. Connor BB, I think this is. Come on, Connor BB, are you really trolling on this one? Conor McGregor beats Floyd Mayweather the second time around. I would bet my life on it. Really? Nah, man, come on. You can't be. Yeah, you can't be serious, dude. And I'm not a Floyd fan, but come on, man. You cannot be serious. Let's move
You
along
gotta
from
be
that one.
kidding.
You gotta be kidding me on that one. Let's move along. Dick J also said, yeah, it is true. It is true that Floyd Patterson had a questionable chin, but his chin was probably better at light heavyweight because Jonathan and Lister were just too big and heavy for where Foster is not.
Yeah, he was
Well,
fighting above his ideal weight class. I'd agree with that.
that is true. That is true to some extent. But Bob Foster was a heavy puncher, though. He had a heavy hands too. So that's one thing you have to take a look at. And another thing you also have to take into account is Evander Holyfield was a guy who started at light heavyweight and he moved up to always the heavyweight. And his chin was phenomenal. Evander Holyfield had a very damn good chin. So if he was able to absorb those shots by
Oh,
those
for
way
sure.
bigger guys, and he was
Well,
fighting
that goes
guys with
back to
weight.
that
Go
goes
ahead.
back to my point about Roberto Duran. You know,
Yeah,
not everybody's skills, even if they're equally skilled, right? If you have two fighters that are against each other equally skilled at a given weight, that
yeah,
still doesn't mean both fighters are going to carry those skills up
right.
in weight.
That's true. And that's unfortunately that Floyd, but I think he got rocked in some of his fights at light heavyweight too. So that's why his chin was always the question, man. So
Could be, could
yeah,
be, could be.
yeah, he definitely didn't have a good chin. He didn't have a good chin. I'm not saying it was the worst, but it was definitely not good. And so yeah, true. Jonathan and Liston were just too big, but still though, Floyd was just he was not, he just didn't have a good chin. And Dick also said that Holyfield power was not bad either. He KO'd Douglas with one left hook. No, he KO'd Douglas with a straight right. What happened was Douglas felt for the feint, and then Evander when Douglas came in, he clipped him with a straight right to the chin, and Douglas went out. It was a perfect shot, and Douglas was not getting up from that. He was really knocked out cold from that. So yeah, Evander's power carried very well. It really carried well up at heavyweight. And some people criticized him for not but knock it out on George Foreman and Larry Holmes. Well, come on, think about it. Who could knock those guys out?
Yeah,
After
Foreman.
their second run.
Yeah,
But
no,
here's the
nobody
thing.
was knocking out that Foreman.
Yeah, nobody was knocking him out. I mean, Ali was the only guy to knock out Foreman in his prime. So give credit to Ali for that. I mean, Foreman was, getting hit by Tommy Morrison. Tommy Morrison was a much heavier puncher than Vander Holyfield. If
Is
Tommy
that the
Morrison,
only time Foreman got stopped?
it was against Ali. That was the only time.
That's the only stoppage on his record, huh?
Yep, the only time he ever got stopped.
Crazy.
So right. So again, Evander Holyfield definitely had very good power. He had good power. That he was able to carry it all the way from cruiserweight all the way to heavyweight. He carried it
I'll
very
tell
well.
you what,
He was able to do
if
it
he didn't have at least decent power at heavyweight, the Big George would have walked right through him.
when it's prime
Well,
or
when
in his.
they fought,
Yeah, I think George would have had no respect for him if he didn't have no
that's what I'm
power.
saying. Yeah, if he didn't have enough power to get George's respect in that fight, with the punches George landed as it was,
Yeah,
I think that could have gone south for Evander.
yeah, that could have, But Evander was, like I said, dude has a great all around fighter, very great stacked resume, one of the best I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
Yeah, the
You know,
snap on his punches definitely got Foreman's respect.
right, right. So definitely, yeah, definitely good point there. You know what, Mr. Doc, I'm gonna wrap this up, man. It was, I know it's late. I was glad for you to come on, man. I really
Impromptu and
appreciate it.
random. Yeah, yeah.
No problem. So I guess we'll continue this tomorrow morning or tomorrow later in the day. It's late, but anyways, I want to thank some of my commenters that was care to chime in. Dick J is always a pleasure, bro. Supreme, always a pleasure. Rasclot is always a pleasure as well. So other than that, we out. You guys have a good night. Peace. Oh, BB, before I go, BB.
Peace.
Yeah, peace. Oh, before I say this, man, before we go, BB made the last comment here. He said, look, Connor's biggest mistake was that he changed his fighting style from how he fights in MMA. With his karate stance in and out movement, this distance would have destroyed Floyd easily. Okay. Are you talking about the octagon in the MMA fighting arena, or are you talking about the boxing ring? First of all, the problem is that you cannot use. First of all, no. You first of all, Connor tried to fight square up. First of all, he real. I don't know what to say about this, man. First of all, using your MMA skills is not going to translate into the boxing ring. That's not going to happen.
He
That's
was
not going to
going
happen.
to gas no matter what. He was
Well,
going to
yeah,
gas no matter what.
he was gassing out because he's not used to fighting 12-round fights. In an MMA ring, that's a totally different situation. You only what the most rounds you fight is 5, but they're 5-minute rounds, I believe, right? 5-minute rounds.
Not just that, Dan. He's not used. His body's not used to using his muscles in that specific fashion.
Exactly. In fact, in MMA, you could afford to take a rest when you're on the ground trying to grapple for position, jostle for position. You can rest when you're on the ground. In boxing, you can't rest on the ground. You have to lay on the ropes, which he's not used to. If you want to rest, you take a knee, but that's going to count as a knockdown. You're going to lose points. You can't do that in boxing. So in boxing, you have to fight in spurts rather than trying to gas out your energy, trying to get your opponent out of there. That's something he didn't do. That was his biggest mistake. He was trying to get Floyd out of here early, and that's something you don't do against a guy like that. So yeah, man,
And the fact is, he has some boxing skills. Okay, that he spends some of his time working on, and then some of his time working on another phase. Floyd has been doing nothing but box since he was about what 4 or 5.
right. Look, BB still commenting on this. He look, check out Connor's footwork, karate movement in UFC. You'll see it totally different when he boxed. That's not the point. The point is that
It's
that
not
foot,
efficient.
yeah, the footwork is not going to save you, dude. Floyd,
But Connor's boxing and footwork is superior to the guys he's been fighting in the UFC.
exactly. Not in boxing. That's two different arenas, man. Two different arenas. You. Oh man, hey,
It's more important. It's his competition has like in a lot of cases zero boxing skill. So of
exactly.
course he's going to look a lot better.
Exactly. That's the point. His competition in UFC, those guys limited boxing skills or didn't have any, opposed to who he actually fought a real fighter, a prize fighter, I should say. Real boxing prize fighter. So totally different arena, man. Come on, man. Let's cut it out. But anyways, let's get out of here, y'all. We out. Thanks again, Mr.
Yeah.
Doc, and thank you
Hey, I
to all my
appreciate it, man.
anytime, man. Anytime. So, anyways,
Cool.
we are out, y'all. Peace.